Let them think you're selfish. It always begins with noise. The noise of people's opinions, the pressure to please, the silent expectation to show up when you don't want to, and say yes when you mean no. Mel Robbins opens the Let Them theory with a powerful story about attending a family gathering. Everyone expected her to be there, but she didn't want to go. She was exhausted, burnt out, mentally done. She went anyway, and resented every minute of it. That night she asked herself, why did I say yes? Then the shift came. What if, instead of trying to please everyone, you just let them be disappointed? This tiny mental shift, let them, was born in that moment. Let them judge, let them talk, let them assume. And you? You take care of you. But the world doesn't reward you for saying no. It rewards obedience, smiles, self-sacrifice. So we become actors. We say we're okay when we're not. We say yes while our stomach tightens. We nod when our soul wants to run, and we suffer quietly, applauded for our selflessness. That's the trap. Then Robbins drops the bomb. You are not responsible for how people react to your truth. That's the liberation. Let them leave. There's a line in the book that shakes the reader. If someone can walk away from you, let them go. She tells the story of a woman who bent herself backwards trying to save her marriage. She dimmed her light. She agreed to everything. She forgave, begged, clung, and still, he left. Mel's words slice through. When someone shows you they're ready to leave, believe them and let them. We cling because we're scared of pain, but the clinging causes more damage than the leaving ever could. The truth? People walking out of your life is often divine intervention. It makes space for something better, something you can't yet see. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to fix it. Let them. And instead of breaking down, you begin building up from the inside out. Let them misunderstand you. It's human nature. We want to be understood. We explain ourselves endlessly, hoping someone will finally get us. We defend, justify, over-explain. And Mel Robbins says, stop. She tells the story of her own experience online, how she was mocked for her motivational videos. Strangers called her names, questioned her credentials. She was hurt, angry, tempted to clap back. Then she didn't. Let them. Let them think what they want, because trying to be understood by someone who is committed to misunderstanding you is emotional suicide. Let them gossip. Let them twist your words. Let them create their own version of your story. You don't have to correct the record. You just have to live the truth. Let them talk. You walk. Sometimes the world will try to keep you small. They'll label your dreams as unrealistic. They'll say things like, you've changed, as if it's a crime. And Robbins is fierce on this. Don't you dare shrink to fit their comfort. One of her most impactful examples is of a friend who quit a corporate job to start a bakery. Everyone laughed. You're throwing your life away, they said. That bakery now supplies over 100 cafes. Robbins doesn't preach here, she reflects. Every major turning point in my life came after someone thought I was making a mistake. What separates the fulfilled from the frustrated is simple. The fulfilled let them talk, and they keep walking. Let them live their own life. This one hurts, because it's about the people closest to us, our family, our partners, our children. We want to protect them, guide them, sometimes even save them. But control, even in the name of love, is still control. Robin shares about her daughter's decision to move across the country. Every instinct told her to stop it, but she didn't. She let her go. The result? Her daughter blossomed, failed, grew, became stronger. You have to let people live. Let them fall. Let them make their own mistakes. Let them become who they are, without your interference. You're not abandoning them. You're trusting them. And that's love in its most mature form. Let them disappoint you. Disappointment is usually something we try to avoid. We set expectations, we script outcomes in our heads, we imagine people doing what we would have done. But Mel Robbins challenges that idea. She shares a story of a birthday dinner a close friend forgot. No message, no call, just silence. And the usual response kicked in. Excuses, justifications, maybe they were busy. But deep down she was hurt, and instead of pretending she wasn't, she let herself feel it. Then she let the friend stay silent. No chasing, no drama, just observation. That friend revealed their truth. And Robbins? She finally understood that disappointment isn't betrayal. It's a reveal. When you stop filling in the gaps for people, you see what they really give. And sometimes you stop trying to make people more than they are. Let them be who they are. We all have stories in our heads about people. We fall in love with potential. We hold people hostage to their best moments. But Robbins tells us people show you who they are consistently. Believe that version. She recounts a professional partnership that went wrong. From the start, there were signs: lateness, flakiness, small lies. But she ignored them, focused on the good, gave the benefit of the doubt. Eventually, it blew up, and the lesson landed hard. The truth was always there. She just didn't want to see it. She wanted them to be different. But you can't force someone to be what they're not. You can only decide whether that version of them fits your life. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It just means seeing things clearly and choosing accordingly. Let them judge you. One of the hardest things in life is being misunderstood and staying silent. Mel shares a vulnerable moment when a public appearance of hers went viral for the wrong reasons. Critics shredded her, said she was too much, accused her of being fake, and it stung. She wanted to defend herself, post a response, clear things up, but then she remembered, let them judge. You can't control the lens someone sees you through. Trying to be liked by everyone is a game you'll never win, because the more people you reach, the more projections you'll receive. Some will love you, some will despise you for the exact same reason, and that's not your responsibility. Your job is to stay aligned. Their judgment? Let it pass like a storm. Let them gossip. Gossip isn't about truth, it's about power. And often, it's a projection of someone's own insecurities. Mel shares a story about a former friend who started spreading rumors about her after their friendship ended. It was tempting to confront it, fight it, defend her reputation, but she didn't. She writes, "Every time you defend yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, you hand them your power." So she sat still, let them talk, and eventually, the people who mattered saw the truth for themselves. Gossip always burns out because truth has longevity. Lies need maintenance, and when you stay grounded, the noise eventually dies. Let them drift. Not every loss is a breakup. Sometimes relationships fade quietly. The messages slow down, the invites stop, the distance creeps in. Mel Robbins writes about the grief of soft goodbyes. She recalls a friendship she cherished for over a decade. They didn't fight, they didn't argue, they just stopped showing up for each other. And she tried, reached out, made efforts, but it was one-sided. So she let them drift. Because holding on to something that's expired doesn't preserve it, it poisons it. The beautiful thing, when you release a connection with grace, it leaves space for new ones to arrive. And sometimes those people come back later, grown, healed, and ready. But that only happens when you give them the room to leave. Leadership, parenthood, partnership. So much tension comes from believing your way is the right way. Mel reflects on working with her own husband and how she often tried to fix his work style. It came from a good place. She wanted efficiency, results, clarity, but it also came from ego. Eventually, they sat down and had a real conversation, and she realized his way wasn't wrong, just different. When you micromanage others, even with good intentions, you rob them of their process. Let people figure it out. Let them stumble. Let them find their rhythm. And instead of control, offer trust. That builds real connection, not dependence, but collaboration. Let them think you've changed. Growth is intimidating to people who refuse to grow. You start waking up earlier, speaking your truth, making new choices, and suddenly people say you're different. You are. That's the point. Mel talks about the loneliness of growth, the phase where you outgrow old circles but haven't found your new tribe yet. She writes, "Change reveals who's aligned with your evolution and who's attached to your past." Let them say you've changed, because if they don't grow with you, they'll try to keep you where you were. And your job is to keep going, even if you're going alone. Let them be upset. We often confuse kindness with compliance. Mel Robbins shares a moment that will feel all too familiar. She had to cancel an event she'd agreed to due to burnout. She called with an apology, explained honestly, and the other person got upset. There it was, the guilt, the pit in her stomach, the inner urge to say, "Okay, I'll still come." But she didn't. She let them be upset. Because here's the thing no one tells you. Someone being disappointed in your boundaries doesn't mean your boundaries are wrong. It just means they were used to you abandoning yourself. Every act of self-respect will upset someone used to you being selfless. But if you trade your peace for someone's approval, you lose both. Let them stay toxic. Not every relationship can be fixed. Not every person will change. And not every chapter should be reopened. Mel shares a raw, personal story about cutting ties with someone from her past. Someone she had forgiven, but who kept hurting her in subtle, manipulative ways. She writes, "Forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. You can release the bitterness and still choose distance. This person would periodically reappear, acting nice, pulling her back in, only to repeat the same toxic patterns. She had to learn, let them stay who they are and you walk away. Not every door needs to be held open. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself when you stop explaining, stop fixing, and finally accept what is. Let them raise their kids differently. Parenting brings judgment like no other topic. Everyone thinks their way is best. Mel reflects on this during a tense conversation with another mom. Their approaches clashed. Discipline, screen time, all of it. She almost argued. Then she didn't. Instead, she thought, let her do it her way. I'll do it mine. And peace arrived. Trying to control how others parent is like trying to hold sand in your hands. Tighten your grip, and it slips through faster. Whether it's family, friends, or strangers on the internet, there's freedom in saying, that's not how I do it, but I don't need to. Because respect doesn't require agreement. Let them ignore you. Silence is loud. Whether it's a message left unread, a call never returned, or a cold shoulder from someone you've loved, it hurts. Mel speaks openly about a friend who suddenly stopped replying. No fight, no explanation, just quiet. She agonized, checked her phone constantly, made up stories in her head. Then she stopped. She writes, if someone chooses silence over conversation, let them live with that decision. Don't beg for clarity from someone who's already decided you're not worth the effort. Sometimes people withdraw not because of you, but because they don't have the courage to be honest. Let them ghost. Let them avoid. You, on the other hand, heal loudly, grow boldly, live fully. Let them waste their own time. One of the most liberating realizations Mel shares is this. You don't have to rescue people from their own bad choices. Whether it's a sibling who keeps making the same financial mistakes, a friend dating someone toxic, or a coworker constantly complaining but never changing, it's not your job to save them. You can support, but you can't substitute their growth. Mel tells a story about trying to help a friend build a business. She gave time, resources, advice, but nothing ever changed. The friend just wanted to vent, not grow. And that's when she stepped back. Let them stay stuck if they choose. I won't join them. Helping doesn't mean dragging someone uphill. You can offer the map, but they have to walk. Let them see your peace and wonder how you got it. This chapter is quiet, gentle, profound. It's about living your truth so deeply, so unapologetically, that people who once judged you now look at you with curiosity instead of contempt. Mel talks about her morning routine, how sacred it's become, the way she no longer rushes out of bed to check emails, to react, to perform. Now, she sits, breathes, reads, sips coffee in silence. People used to call her lazy for slowing down. Now they call her wise. You don't need to defend your peace. Just live it. Let them watch. Let them wonder. You found stillness in the storm, and that speaks louder than any explanation. Let them become your past. Some people were only ever meant to be part of a season. Mel describes looking through old photos, smiles, hugs, laughter frozen in time, people she hasn't spoken to in years. She could have cried, she could have texted. Instead, she closed the photo album and whispered, "Thank you for the part you played." That's the final letting go. Not with bitterness. Not with anger, but with grace. Some people aren't villains, they're just expired lessons. Beautiful while they lasted, painful when they ended, necessary for your growth. You don't need to hate them to move on. You just need to bless them and keep walking. Let them think you're done trying. Trying to please, to prove, to explain, to fix. It wears you down. Mel tells the story of a long friendship that drained her, emotionally, mentally. No matter how much effort she put in, it never felt equal. She'd show up, they'd cancel. She'd listen, they'd talk over her. She'd apologize, they'd hold grudges. Until one day, she stopped trying. Not out of anger, but because peace finally mattered more than effort. People often misread that moment. They think you've changed, turned cold, stopped caring. But it's not that. It's that the old you, who overextended, overexplained, overcompensated, is gone, and in her place stands someone who finally values herself. So let them think you gave up. You just chose you. Let them wonder what happened to you. Growth is quiet at first. You'll wake up earlier, think more clearly, stop chasing things that once consumed you. You'll respond slower. You'll pause more often. You'll walk away, not in anger, but in alignment. Mel Robbins describes this shift beautifully. She says she started journaling again, started meditating, started saying no, and people noticed. Some asked if something was wrong. She smiled, because for the first time, nothing was. Healing has a stillness, a softness, a subtle glow, and when you reach that point, you don't need to post about it, don't need to convince anyone. Your energy becomes your announcement. Let them wonder, you know who you are now. Let them outgrow you too. There's an unspoken side to healing. It's not just about letting go of others. It's accepting that others might outgrow you too. Mel writes about a moment when her daughter started making decisions independently, big ones. She no longer needed approval, no longer called for advice on everything. At first, it hurt. Then she realized this is what growth looks like. Sometimes people drift not because you did something wrong, but because they're finding their own path. And the most loving thing you can do? Cheer from afar. Let them become more, even if it means becoming less central in their lives. Let them think you're selfish. This brings us full circle, back to the phrase that started it all. Let them think you're selfish. Mel revisits that original story. The family event she didn't attend, the guilt she fought, the relief she felt when she didn't betray herself. And now, after all this time, that one phrase has become her shield, her compass, her mantra. Because selfish, when you're a recovering people pleaser, isn't a flaw. It's a boundary. It's the radical act of choosing yourself in a world that profits from your self-abandonment. Let them call it selfish. Let them roll their eyes. Let them leave. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be at peace with yourself. Let them live their life while you live yours. This is where the theory becomes life practice. Robbins ends the book with a reflection that feels almost like a prayer. She writes about watching a sunset alone. No phone, no audience, no pressure, just her, the moment, and the silence. And for the first time in years, she didn't feel the need to share it. She just lived it. Because letting them means finally stepping out of the performance. You're not responsible for other people's stories, reactions, or journeys. You are only responsible for your own alignment. Let them live how they choose. You? Live how you feel. Live soft. Live slow. Live true. The let them theory isn't just about boundaries. It's about surrender. It's about trusting that what's meant for you won't require you to beg, perform, or explain yourself endlessly. It's about walking away from noise into the sanctuary of your own voice. What Robbins offers is more than advice. It's emotional permission to stop fixing, stop managing, stop proving, and to finally start being. Let them do whatever they want. You just keep healing, keep growing, keep going. If this message hit home, don't just scroll past. Smash that subscribe button right now. Join a community that's all about growth, taking charge, and leveling up every single day. Don't wait for tomorrow. Subscribe today and let's crush the next step together.